Sometimes shows, whether they are imported from the US to another country or from another country to ours, seems to get lost in translation. Combine that from when the market for said show is so little that only a handful of stations aired in the US, even if the show would be dirt cheap to make, dirt cheap to produce, dirt cheap to air. You get the picture. It was also brought in from the UK to prop up an ailing Pearson / Fremantle show. That show that I'm talking about would wind up being the long-running UK show 100%.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Casey Kasem, and this is 100%, a non-stop test of knowledge and speed where our contestants are competing for cash prizes. Should any of our contestants answer all the questions correctly, scoring 100%, they win $100,000.
100% is a straightforward quiz show that came to the States in January of 1999. Hosted by the golden voice of Casey Kasem, 3 contestants compete in a conveyor belt of multiple choice and true-false questions to see who gets the most correct and wins the game. I'm serious, that's the whole show. And that little part is essentially it for 30 minutes. So, why was the show short-lived compared to its UK counterpart, where it was on Channel 5 for 5 years and also had 2 spin-offs? So let's start at the top from our usual checklist with the golden voice himself. I can't do a Casey Kasem impersonation, I'm sorry folks. The host for the show is Casey Kasem. Throughout his storied career, he's done the voice of Shaggy Doo on Scooby-Doo and many Transformers characters throughout the time. He's most well known as the host of America's Top 40, or later known as Casey's Top 40. His smooth, long-distance dedications were a thing to behold. As for the show, he was fine. I can't bring up any banter between hosts and contestants because there was none. But then there was hardly any on the UK version as well. There was some when a contestant who had a long run got defeated, but here in the States, you really couldn't tell if Casey was reading the questions live to the contestants in studio, or if it was all done in post. The gameplay is really bare bones and dry. Host Casey Kasem asks a multiple choice question, and the contestants have 3 seconds to decide which one is correct. This keeps on going until every 4th or 5th question is replaced with a true-false question. The object of the game is to get as close to 100% of the questions right possible. And that's the game right there. Works as a functional game, but it's very dry and boring. What doesn't help is that the contestants don't speak, and there is nothing else to get anything noteworthy to enjoy. It's Jeopardy, but played absolutely normally, and it makes it the game show equivalent of watching paint dry. Another thing that gets me is how the payout is structured. The winner of each show gets $10 per percentage point of the questions they get right, which for $19.99 is really cheap. They did proclaim that if somebody did get 100% of the questions right, they'd win $100,000. To me, that's hyping up an impossible to reach jackpot for an impossible task. I don't think there is any version of 100% around the world that had a contestant get every single question right. I know they didn't here in the States. So the show's very, very boring. Not even Casey Kasem's smooth voice can make even remotely interesting. What also gets me is that there was a show that beat 100% to the punch, and dare I say, did it better.
You are about to be witness to an examination. Several of you have decided to try your skills against the participants. But be you player or spectator, be prepared. For you have just been invited to an Inquisition.
In September of 1998, Game Show Network debuted a new slate of originals, and one of them was Inquisition. In this show, 4 contestants asked a bunch of multiple choice questions, with the third one always being none of the above. Each right answer scored 1 point, and at the end of each round, the contestant with the lowest score was eliminated. This added a bit of drama to the proceedings, as you can't have a bad first round and then bulldoze your way to victory like some did on 100%. What also added to the show was the Inquisitor himself. He who would razz the contestants if they sucked, and it was brutal at times. Even though the contestants couldn't give it back to him, it fit the tone of him being the one that would grant the winning contestant their quote-unquote freedom, or as they say, the papers, which also had the grand prize of $250 or $500, which for Game Show Network at the time was probably on the middle end of what they were offering. What also helped was the set itself. I'll be honest, I'm certain it was on a green screen set, but it looked nice and it conveyed atmosphere. I did not know whatsoever 100% set was trying to convey. Now, here's the question. Do I like Inquisition? Not really. It's still a bland, boring quiz, and the atmosphere at times did not help. However, I do like it a lot more than I do 100%. And with Inquisition being the much better show, 100% was made honestly irrelevant the moment it debuted. What also made the show irrelevant was the number of stations that carried it. I'd like to make note that this was released and sold as a booster to Match Game 98. The number of stations that took on this was a grand total of 7. Only 7 stations carried 100%. One of those stations was Kong TV out of Seattle. I don't think this would have bolstered Match Game in any way, since, to the best of my recollection, Match Game was airing at that time on KCBQ 13 at 12:30. So not only was it on the same channel, but it wasn't on directly before or after the show was trying to boost. I could comment on the other station pairings, but I doubt they aired it alongside Match Game either. It's one thing to be boring and bland, but it's also another thing to be irrelevant and pointless at the same time. There isn't anything worthwhile about the show. It didn't have any effect on the show it was supposed to save, and both will be gone by September of 1999. Both would wind up being replaced by Family Feud. I don't think I need to say any more on that. We all know what's happening with Family Feud right now. Anyways, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Be sure to thumbs up this video and share with all of your game show loving friends about this show, I guess. Thumbs up the video. Subscribe to this channel, please. We could always use the extra viewers. And if you want to help fund this channel, like these wonderful people right here, become a Patreon backer at patreon.com/GameShowGumbo. Be like these people. I'd like to thank you for watching. Take care, everybody. See you next time.